I'm not actually a vampire, but because I'm dressed like one today, I thought it could be really fun to do a science experiment about blood. And it turns out that, like vampires, scientists really like blood too. Maybe not because they want to eat it, but they do like to study it. So what do we already know about blood? Well, blood is really important to help move oxygen and nutrients all around our body. And blood also is helpful in our bodies preventing diseases. Before we dive into our science experiment, I want to tell you all about someone really cool, a scientist named Florence Sabin. She was the first woman to ever graduate from Johns Hopkins University, and she became a medical science researcher. She specifically studied blood and how our blood cells help fight off disease when we get sick. So now we're ready to do the experiment. Here's what you'll need. Get a jar or cup, something you can work in, corn syrup, some red sprinkles, marshmallows or some other white candy, and some red candies. Today I have Red Hots, but you could also use Mike and Ike's or even cut up pieces of Twizzler, whatever you have at home. Red and blue food coloring. And finally, a spoon will be helpful to stir. So for the first step, go ahead and grab your cup or jar and corn syrup. Today, corn syrup is representing plasma. Plasma is a yellow, clearish liquid in our blood that makes up about 55% of all of what's our blood. And it's really important in moving nutrients around our body. So we're gonna pour our jar about halfway full with our plasma or corn syrup. So now we're going to go ahead and add in some food coloring. And we're just gonna do this to make it look a little more blood-like. So I would recommend a ratio of 3 drops of red coloring and 1 drop of blue coloring. You can play around with it to try to see what ends up the most blood-like for you, but that's what I'm gonna be doing. 1, 2, 3, and 1 blue. Then grab your spoon and mix it all up. Now we're starting to look more like blood. And you'll notice that the corn syrup is kind of thick. It's syrupy, and that's how our blood is too. So once we have our blood color just right, how we want it, you're gonna add your red candy. And this candy today is representing our red blood cells. Now, red blood cells are what carry oxygen around our body and move carbon dioxide out. And they make up about 44% of all of what's our blood. So we're gonna add about a cup, so fill about the rest of the half, almost all the way with these. If some fall, that's okay. You can just use your hand, guide them in. So now we have a lot of our plasma and our red blood cells. Next up, we have white blood cells. So white blood cells are what's useful in our body that help fight disease, like we talked about. So really, really important part of our blood. This makes up about 0.5% of our blood. So it's only a little bit. So you can add like 2 or 3 marshmallows to be our white blood cells for our blood. Finally, we have one part of our blood left to talk about. That would be platelets. We're using sprinkles today to represent platelets. They make up about 0.5% of our blood too, just like the white blood cells. What platelets do is they help us when we get a cut. They help our blood clot so that it stops bleeding and our cut can heal. So platelets are really useful in healing wounds. I'm gonna add just a little bit of the sprinkles. Remember, it's only 0.5% of all of our blood, so it's not too much. Mix your blood all together to represent what all of the components of our blood are. You can even taste this if you want to. Be a real vampire. In the human body, our blood is made up of about 5 million red blood cells, 10,000 white blood cells, and 250,000 platelets. So you can really think about all of the components that we learned today that are in blood and how small they are in actual life to fit inside of us. Blood is so important for our health and well-being, and both scientists as well as vampires think blood is super cool. So now let's head over to my friend Katie to talk a little bit about costumes. Happy Halloween, everyone!
Supergirl here. Now that we've done an experiment about blood using candy, I want to talk to you all about costumes and characters. For Halloween, we all happily dress up as someone else for the day. We put our mask on or a costume, and we start pretending to be the character that we've chosen. It is so much fun to dress up as someone else for the day. Then, after Halloween is over, we take off the mask and go back to just being our awesome selves. But are there ever moments you feel like you're pretending to be someone else in your own life? As we grow up, we slowly try to figure out who we are and what type of person we want to be. And trust me, even adults are still trying to figure that out. But when we're around our friends at school or at sports practice or theater, we might sometimes feel pressure to say certain things or act a certain way, even when those things don't feel like a true reflection of who we are. We put on a mask, dress up as a character, and play the part. Sometimes we might do this to fit in or feel liked. Or we might even feel pressure from our friends to do something that doesn't feel true to ourselves. And dressing up as someone else might feel fun for a while too, but at the end of the day, you take your mask off and it's just you. You who is the person who cares or loves a certain sport or food. You who has silly habits. And you who has a passion for a certain thing. You who has a beautiful soul and a unique and awesome personality. And you do not need to dress up or pretend to be anyone else to feel those things or be accepted by others. They are all within you. So take off the costume, give up the act, and let other people know the amazingly unique you. We are all special individuals with so much to offer the world, just by being ourselves. Thanks everyone for watching today. You are all brilliant, and happy Halloween. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and make sure to subscribe to our channel for new videos every Sunday. Supergirl out.